What's going on?
That's John Lee, the current champ.
He's never been defeated. Holds awesome records, including the fastest KO.
Welcome back to Thinking Critical. This is Wes, and today I'm going to cover the recent announcement of creative teams for Detective Comics 1000, the release of the upcoming Scott Snyder Batman Black Label cover by Greg Capullo, and the announcement of the final Batman Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles crossover series. Today, DC unveiled story details on the landmark 1000th issue of Detective Comics releasing on 27 March. The 96-page DC 1000 celebrates The Dark Knight through a series of short stories from an all-star cast of top writers and artists in Batman's recent history. The full lineup of stories, writers, and artists to be featured in Detective Comics 1000 is Medieval by Peter J. Tomasi and Doug Mahnke. Appearing in DC's comic book continuity for the first time, a new and mysterious version of the Arkham Knight will be debuting in a story that looks at Batman's encounters with his villains through the Arkham Knight's eyes. But the Knight's scheme remains to be seen. This is the current team on Detective Comics, and judging by the quality of the recent run, this should be excellent. Batman's Longest Case by Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo, one of the most popular talent teams in the history of The Dark Knight, delivers a tale in which Batman follows clues around the world, leading him back to his home in Gotham City, and to a secret organization that has been keeping tabs on him for years. These two have worked together on Batman many times, including the Court of Owls story, Dark Knight's Metal, and are the team behind the next Batman Black Label book, Last Night on Earth. Manufactured for use by Kevin Smith and Jim Lee, the fan-favorite director of Clerks and one of Batman's most visionary artists present a story that cuts between Batman fighting his greatest villains and his attempts to track down the gun that killed his parents. Interesting pairing here between the Fat Man on Batman podcast host and one of the most influential artists in comic book history. The Legend of Newt Brody by Paul Dini, Dustin Nguyen, Derek Friedolfs, and John Cleese. The Villains of Gotham Speak, documentary style about the one henchman they each hired who was the absolute worst at his job, constantly screwing up their plans. Paul Dini is highly regarded by Batman fans for his extensive work with the DC animated movies, as well as being the creator of Harley Quinn and Batman, the animated series. Also on the docket are the Batmans designed by Warren Ellis and Becky Cloonan, the first woman to draw Batman in the main series. Return to Crime Alley by Denny O'Neil and Steve Epting, a direct sequel to O'Neil's classic There Is No Hope in Crime Alley from Detective Comics 457. Heretic by Christopher Priest and Neil Adams, featuring Batman helping a young man escape from Ra's al Ghul's League of Assassins. The Precedent by James Tynion IV and Alvaro Martinez sees them return to Detective Comics after their highly successful Rebirth run. I Know by Brian Michael Bendis and Alex Maleev, the creative team behind Scarlet takes a unique future look at Batman and the Penguin. The Penguin comes to an elderly, wheelchair-bound Batman to tell him of the time that he learned Batman was Bruce Wayne, and to explain why he never did anything with that information. Bendis' story in Action Comics 1000 was easily the worst in the book, and with everything he's producing these days, there's no reason to believe this won't be more of the same. The only saving grace is that he likely can't do permanent damage to Batman's character or continuity in 8 or 9 pages. But I could be wrong. The Last Crime in Gotham by Jeff Johns and Kelly Jones. Superstar writer Jeff Johns and famed artist Kelly Jones tell a future story where the future family of Batman and Catwoman face off in a battle with the family of the Joker and Harley Quinn. Johns orchestrated DC Rebirth, which saved the brand, so there's no reason to believe this won't be anything but excellent. Batman's Greatest Case by Om King, Tony Daniel, and Joelle Jones. Groundbreaking Batman writer Om King is joined by Tony Daniel and Joelle Jones, who share artistic duties on the story. Presented using parallel story threads, Bruce Wayne visits his parents' grave while Batman assembles his entire coalition of allies around him. Om King could definitely give Team Bendis a run for their money for worst story. His recent Batman run has been mired by extreme low-T Batman fighting an endless stream of depression. There's likely to be a sonnet or two in the story, and to be honest, you'll probably be happier just skipping the Bendis and Om King stories altogether. They're guaranteed stinkers. This 96-page oversized issue will be available at comic retailers 27 March for $9.99. Batman Dan fans were treated to bad news last week as the release of issue 3 was delayed by 2 months. So it was great to see DC Comics tweet, Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo's final chapter in the Batman mythos begins here. Get your first look at the cover of Batman Last Night on Earth number 1 of 3. Written by Scott Snyder, art by Greg Capullo. Available May 29, #DC Black Label. The cover shows a barren, all-red background as the black silhouette of the Dark Knight walks through a cloud of sand. In his right hand, Batman carries the disembodied head of the Joker in a jar, with the Joker's hair and grin being the only other colors aside from Batman's eyes. When the series was originally announced at 2017's New York City Comic Con, Sean Gordon Murphy was announced as the artist, but in March 2018, Capullo was placed on the project. Lost in the shuffle a bit, DC and IDW announced the acclaimed Batman Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles saga will conclude with a third volume. This May, the final chapter of the trilogy begins as Krang prepares to unleash the most dangerous technologies the DC Universe has to offer. The series features a returning creative team of writer James Tynion IV and artist Freddie E. Williams II, with colors by Jeremy Caldwell and special guest variant covers and interior art by Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle co-creator Kevin Eastman. The first series was excellent, while the second didn't reach the same heights of story quality. The one constant great quality of the series is the art of Freddie Williams II, and it's great to see he's returning. That's the roundup of the recent Batman comics news. Tons of information about the creative teams and stories of the upcoming Detective Comics 1000 issue. A welcome update on the Snyder-led Batman Last Night on Earth DC Black Label series, and the announcement of the final chapter in the Batman Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles crossover. I'm most excited for the new Black Label series. Damned is a truly unique book in the market, and I'm stoked to see what the next series will offer. Of course, these are just my takes. What's yours? Which Detective Comics 1000 story are you most looking forward to? Are you excited for the next Black Label book or Batman Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles crossover? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you've made it this far, I'm going to assume that you're a fan of the channel. I'm going to be heading out on vacation with my wife tomorrow. There won't be any new videos through the weekend, but I have pre-recorded reviews for some crowdfunded books: Jack Irons, The Ferryman, White Lily, and Shifted. They should be released while I'm out, and I hope you enjoy them. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. I would appreciate it very much. It helps us attract more views for the channel. Subscribe for future commentary, comic book news, and reviews. And don't forget to ring the bell for notifications. If you want to talk comics, movies, and much, much more, you can follow me on Twitter at Wes_from_TC. With that, Salamat Po, and I'm out.